IDAC will ensure that they build a sustainable in-house capacity to deal with digital forensic matters. I have, as the Minister, placed Mr. Dylan Perumal on suspension from his position as the Chief Investigator of South Africa's Investigator Directorate against Corruption, pending disciplinary action and disciplinary processes. And the NDPP, in terms of his powers, also in terms of authority, you would understand that there are delegations at which level you deal with what, has started a disciplinary process for employees within the purview of his purview who have been found wanting at IDAC, and that has commenced. Mr. Brian Padayachee and Mr. Suleiman Bellochun have already been suspended pending disciplinary proceedings against them. Perception that has been created in the public domain that IDAC is dominated by prosecutors and investigators of Indian origin, I would like to set the record straight and dispel this perception. IDAC's demographic profile with regards to prosecutors and investigators are as follows. The breakdown of investigators are 81.2% are Africans, which is a total of 56 of them. 73.7% are colors, which is 5. 10.1% are Indians, which is 7. 1.5%, which is 1%, which is calculated at 1. 1.5 is white. The breakdown of prosecutors are 20 of them, which comprises 50% Africans, 7 who are Indian, which comprises 17.5%, and white, 13, which is 32.5%. It is clear from these statistics that the demographic composition is a reflective of the population demographics of the country. And let me make it clear that wrongdoing is wrongdoing. It should not be allowed to happen irregardless of who they are involved or who is involved and their race. The issue of what is now coming up and looking as Indian versus blacks fight. It's unfortunate in 32 years of our democracy and when we're celebrating 30 years that we've got to deal with issues in this context of race. It does look that way, and I hope it was not how it was intended. But as I gave the demographics of IDAC, we do not have, and I think people keep on confusing that we have a majority is not factual in terms of both leadership and also in terms of the entire population of the organization. The complaint that landed on the minister's desk in relation to Advocate Johnson was particularly the appointment of the husband. That was dealt with by the Office of Ethics and Accountability. A report was produced, and when we did the report, the media briefing 3 weeks ago with the IDAC judge, I think I gave a report to say I have received the final report and we have submitted that report to the president. So, and in terms of the level where Advocate Johnson is the appointment of the president, and any matter in terms of suspension or charging or asking questions, it has to go to the president. So that's the difference. So in the structure of NPA, there are those that are appointed in terms of Public Service Act. It's a very complex one, and sometimes people confuse it. Public Service Act, and there are those that are appointed in terms of NPA Act. And in how they are dealt with, it's different in terms of the procedure. Number two, in terms of the powers of the minister as well, I think many of us as journalists, I do believe we're confusing them. The minister does not have oversight over IDAC on prosecutorial matters. So the prosecutorial performance of NPA is submitted by the NPA NDPP directly to Parliament. So where there's a complaint or I have a concern, I then utilize Section 33 of the NPA to request a report. I can't walk to NDPP and say, NDPP, brief me about this. It's not allowed. So I have to write formally and say to NDPP, in relation to this case, I'm requesting to you to account in terms of Section 38. For example, when we had a challenge with the Omotoso case, I wrote formally to the then NDPP to say, I'm seeing this case being lost in court. I'm requesting formally for you to report to me. So in the cases that relates, for example, to the Kuma law, and I didn't have to because NDPP immediately, when he saw what was happening in terms of his powers, he then briefed the minister that, Minister, I've seen this, I am taking action. So there was no need for me to interact there. Human Resource Management and Development, that the branch has been tasked to commence with the process of analyzing the job profiles against CVs of the people who are holding the positions in IDAC. This analysis of all 146 staff members in IDAC will be completed by the 14th of August 2026. All employees in IDAC will undergo lifestyle audit as a matter of urgency. A skilled, experienced investigator is being appointed by the SIU to be seconded to the NPA to conduct a full case audit on all cases. In the interim, the NPS is finalizing the consideration of the CID cases enrollment. All Section 28, 1 and 13 authorization will be evaluated against mandate, intake criteria and referral mechanisms. There will be an evaluation of all cases currently on the court roll to ensure that people are correctly charged.
I can only say those who believe that they've been sort of wrongly charged will probably need to know of those, and will subject those matters to the review as we should. So I need to just indicate as well, and I mean we've stated it before, that the review of cases, it's a review that is allowed when representations are made to the NDPP or to the DPP, DPP being the Director of Public Prosecutions in the divisions, in the processes. They go through a assessment, they go through a review process, and a decision is made ultimately whether the representations are sustained or not. It's a process that is documented in the Criminal Procedure Act. So it's not an undue process. But with regard to, as we go on the investigation side, and this is what I've said, the experience we've had with SIU, you need to put together the measures that would assist and ensure that there's regular reviews of investigations and ensure that there are checks and balances and that investigations are conducted appropriately. We are going to ensure that there are those measures that are put in place going forward and strengthen accountability around those measures. Thank you. So where the courts have decided, will probably not, this review process would probably not go that route, except that the review may pick those cases where there wasn't sufficient effort on the part of the prosecution, and then we'll decide if there are those cases whether action needs to be taken in this regard. And I'm probably just stating the probability here that and I can quote the likes of Omotoso case, right, where the NPA was not happy about how the case was decided. We decided to take the case on appeal. If there are similar cases, and I'm just saying, if there are similar cases here, in terms of how the cases were decided, we'll take it. The review team will advise. So You're saying, can I say here whether Advocate Johnson is being investigated? She has said so herself. So I can confirm, and I think it's the investigation officer McLean testified at the Madlanga Commission that there is a case that he is investigating. He came to NPA to get a prosecutor allocated to guide the investigation, right? And that investigation looks at the allegations which were made against Advocate Johnson. That's the one, at least, that I can say here. It's been publicly stated. So we will guide that investigation in the normal run. In the normal run of the process, the investigation will be guided. When the docket is ready for prosecutorial decision, the investigating officer will submit it in the normal process. In the light of the admission that the case relating to Masemola, it keeps coming up, but this matter is really going to be subjected to a review. I cannot now stand here and preempt what's going to come out of the review. There is a legal process. There's a legal process and the governance process around that legal process to ensure that the review is done and done properly.